Okay, so I was on the road a little bit today. I was doing a couple of deliveries and stuff like that. Mm-hmm. And I just noticed that I was watching at like the other place where they were, making whatever they manufacture. And I was watching as like the young people, they're sitting there like their legs are bouncing, they're shaking and all of that stuff just constantly. And all the slightly old people around them are just sat.
Oh, I know what it is. It was vaping. They need to vape.
You think they're fiending?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I got back to my workplace and I look at a meeting and it's like the guy who's probably like upper 30s, low 40s, something like that. And he's just sitting there talking. And then there's like the mid 20s, not me, believe it or not, just sitting there fucking shaking. And I was like, what do you need a hit of so bad? I doubt they're vaping, but like, holy hell, man. I'm looking at Gen Z like fucking dope fiends for something.
It's gotta be.
I have not noticed this, whatever you're talking about.
Yeah, me either.
But honestly, from what I've seen, people are complaining that Gen Z are too checked out and apathetic.
Yeah.
You've seen the discourse around the Gen Z stare?
Oh, I saw that.
I've seen the discourse around it. I'm not sure if I get it or have internalized the message yet.
Basically, the Gen Z stare is Gen Z in service roles. People will go up to them and be like, hey, how's it going? And they'll just stare like,
good.
Yeah.
Good.
They just refuse to engage in the emotional labor in the actual literal economic sense that employers demanded people do for the past 50 years.
Yeah.
I think this is less of a Gen Z thing and more of a post-pandemic thing.
Yeah.
I think service workers generally don't care anymore.
I think that's true. I know for like grocery checkout and stuff like that, no one really gives a shit. Especially with the self-checkout right there. Like, the expectation now is kind of like janitors, service workers are intended to like fade into the background as opposed to make an impact.
I think
or at least that's what Gen Z intends them to be.
I think what incenses boomers about the Gen Z stare is that their only interaction with other people outside of their family is when they're at the store.
Yeah.
Right? So the fact that people no longer treat them like their friend at the store is like a moral crisis.
Well, I've found a few ways that absolutely, it really perks the Gen Zs up. And the first thing you do is you walk up, right? You look at their name tag, and you address them by their first name. That's how you got to start the interaction. You got to scratch the barcodes a little bit so it doesn't scan. Ask if you can get it for free. And you got to give that for the first item to shine big. And then when they automatically do the card reader or whatever, because everyone pays by card, you'd be like, nuh-uh, not me. Pay in cash. As you pull your wallet out, the Labubu is like poking over the counter just a little bit. They fall for it every time.
Did you see someone left a Labubu at Marx's grave?
I don't think they still, because I sent you that.
Viral Labubu doll spotted at Marx's grave. So it was like
what color Labubu?
So I'll show you a picture. I'll describe.
It's like a gray one with like red on,
it's
white
like,
on red polka dot.
Yeah, it's wearing like ladybug shorts, and it's like a gray one. Someone left it there next to the young Chinese girl's letter to Karl Marx.
Mm-hmm. Well, I gotta say. I think first of all they flopped not making a Karl Marx Funko Pop.
I think there is a Karl Marx Funko Pop, isn't there?
I know, because I wanted to buy one for your birthday, and then later I tried to make it myself for your birthday, and it just did not work.
Make a Funko Pop yourself?
Yeah.
Like out of vinyl?
I was going to like 3D print it.
Oh, okay.
And then like paint over it and stuff like that, but my Blender skills are not up to snub for Funko Pops, frankly.
You need to hone your Blender skills by making 3D.
Here we are, Karl Marx Funko STL for 3D printing.
How much it cost?
It's $1 Canadian.
Shit.
Oh.
It wasn't there a year ago, is all I'm going to say.
When was this made? This was posted...
Is it good? Let me see.
Oh, this was literally published 2 days ago.
Okay, I'll give you my credit card right after this episode.
Bennett's Christmas present.
Yeah, okay, that bangs. Well, now you've kind of spoiled your Christmas / next birthday. Whatever comes next.
Yeah.
His wedding gift.
Both of those can happen up to 12 times a year.
At any cost? How far would you go with that? How far would you extend that? At reducing civil liberty? Just watch me.
Anyways.
So we've got everyone here. We've gathered. We delayed it last week because I was late to the train. But there's a new Superman movie. And word on the street is that Superman, it went woke. Superman went woke. Did you ever watch Ben Shapiro's full review of it?
I did not watch Ben Shapiro's review of it.
Fuck.
Let me tell you, from what I remember of the movie, he probably did not like it.
No.
Yes.
Because interspersed throughout just a generic kid movie about superheroes is a allegory for Israel-Palestine, but Israel is like the Czech Republican aesthetic. Mm-hmm. And then Palestine is like a bunch of Indian farmers standing under a sand dune.
Yeah.
Like, the way they portray the scale of the conflict in the movie. So, in the movie, there's this country called Moravia, which is not Israel.
Yeah, well, the flag is like a mixture of like Cuba, but like, and Israel, right?
Yes.
It adds, like, it's a Cuba-looking flag.
Yeah.
White and blue. And there's like it's not a 6-pointed star, but it's an 8-pointed star on the left of the flag, inside the triangle on the Cuban flag. Or like, I forget which African country looks very similar to Cuba.
So there's a few that look kind of like Cuba's, but Moravia is like this country that it looks like a sort of a Western Eastern European country, like the Czech Republic or Poland or something. Mm-hmm. And they speak a Slavic language, but they're a close ally of the United States that has a contentious relationship with their neighboring sort of brown country.
Yeah.
That's like never established if it's like Arab or Indian or what.
Although it has like an Indian sounding name.
Yeah, Jaranpur. Mm-hmm. Right? And then Moravia and Jaranpur. Moravia is a friend of the United States. Jaranpur is a historical enemy. And before the movie starts, Superman has gone to Moravia and destroyed their armed forces because they tried to invade Jaranpur. Yeah. And he tortured their president in order to get him to stop. So the central conflict of the movie, Lex Luthor is trying to remove Superman literally from the planet Earth so that Moravia can genocide the Jaranpurians, allowing Lex Luthor to take over half of Jaranpur, the other half going to Moravia.
When I, like, before the last episode, I think it was Nana, you were saying that some people thought it was about, like, Russia and Ukraine, and I was saying that because of, because it's generally a colonial power going after a neighboring country, I can see how people could force something like that. There's no way. After watching the movie, like, the guy pops up, and I'm like, oh, it's Netanyahu.
Yeah. Yeah, it's very, to me, it seemed, I could see how you could aesthetically, Moravia is Eastern European. So it does sort of make sense as a Russia metaphor. Jaranpur does not really make sense as Ukraine equivalent. It's much more similar to like a Palestine-style country where it's kind of seems like this non-state inhabited by very impoverished people.
I thought the conflict was, when I saw that, I just got flashbacks to like the March of Return, where it's the people protesting at the fence, and it just, like, that just rung instantly to me as to be what that was referencing.
Yeah, I think, Ben, you're right when you said, like, well, it does, I can see how people read it as Slavic, but I think that decision was made specifically not to be anti-Semitic, not to, like, create, like, Jewish caricatures.
But
and, like,
here's the thing. It's almost so perfect that it becomes anti-Semitic again, because it's like actually all Israelis are Russian.
Yeah.
I mean,
which is true.
Is this the Jewish Bolshevik?
No. Something like 57% of Israel's population is from Russia.
Yeah.
Because of like post-Soviet Jews emigrating there. So like the Ashkenazi population is just almost like entirely Russian at this point. And that's like all within the past 30 years from immigration.
So, okay,
Can we take it like a brief step back?
Yeah.
For the movie as a whole, This was the first time where I've watched like a superhero movie and felt kind of what I would refer to as like superhero magic.
Wait. Oh, okay. Go.
Like
I was gonna say
it's like
something.
I was watching this because I've seen like Disney movies and all of that. I've seen superhero movies, but this was like a superhero movie. One thing that I loved about it was it had all the like Gen Z tropes. There's like the girl who takes all the selfies. He has the broccoli haircut. All of these little things, but it all rocked. Like I liked it all as opposed to despised it. But also it felt like, yeah, a superhero that takes place with like today's young people, but it was just a good superhero movie that made me like feel good about it. I've never had that with a Marvel movie.
I think the movie has some problems because it is basically a kids movie.
Yeah.
Right? But it's probably the first superhero movie of the past 15 years where explicitly the good guy opposes American foreign policy.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Well, okay, so at the end of the spoilers for anyone, at the end of the movie, they kind of hit us with, oh, actually, Lex Luthor is the sole evil guy here, and that little like dark room that they had like the US.
Pentagon.
Yeah,
the Pentagon. They definitely framed it though as the generals were like, well, this sucks, but we can't do anything about it.
Yeah.
Rather than being like 82 or another 80 billion to Boravia.
This is awesome.
I want you to die for Boravia.
Yeah. I think I was talking to Liam last week about, I think it shouldn't be too hard to ask for a superhero movie to have progressive politics. But we've like, I don't know the last time that, well, okay, Batman, the one with Robert Pattinson, also had a similar thing where
yeah, it was a little flip floppy.
Oh yeah, like if they really hammered home the point that like corruption runs so deep in Gotham, your father, the rich guy, is a part of it, but they
did that with Joker. I don't know if you ever saw Joker, but they make it in Joker. Thomas Wayne is like the bad guy, like one of the main bad guys.
Oh,
he's kind of like an asshole.
Yeah.
But I wanted it to be like institutional.
Yeah.
And this movie scratches that itch, like, and like you said, there's definitely some other problems, but like when I was watching it, like first 20 minutes is when they have the Israel-Palestine thing. My jaw was like down. I was like, wait.
Okay, I still
maintain right about this.
I still maintain that it was kind of like threading the needle of like Boravia being both Russia and Israel at the same time.
But textually,
I think surface level Boravia is Russia because they were speaking Russian.
Or
I didn't
fake Slavic language.
Yeah, they were basically they were basically Russians aesthetically. But where it falls apart as a Russian metaphor is that Boravia is presented as a close friend of the United States and sort of a minor power associated with the U.S.
Yeah.
Rather than its own country that has really never been friends with the United States.
Also, when you see it on a map, it's like bordering a body of water that is also bordered by the country it's invading, if I recall this
Well, so
correctly.
is Ukraine, and Russia borders bodies of water.
I guess so. It seemed
motherfuckers never heard of the Black Sea.
Or the Arctic Ocean, or the Pacific Ocean.
It seems very
or the
much
Sea of
at the
Azov.
scale is what I was trying to go for like Israel-Palestine.
Yeah, it's shown to be around the same size as Jaranpur.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like not really, it doesn't seem to be like a major power like Russia, and it's hinted at being a close ally of the United States. And I think the only time Russia and the United States have been close in any way is the World Wars.
Mm-hmm. And also like the 5 seconds after the Soviet Union collapsed.
Yeah.
When like Boris Yeltsin.
Yeah.
Not Boris Johnson. Boris Yeltsin and Bill Clinton just got drunk together a bunch.
Yeah. I think the reason why they were willing to make this movie is because polling has finally shifted to favor Palestine over Israel among people 18 to 29, and it's almost merged for everyone under 50 in the United States. Mm-hmm. Like, it's basically 50-50 for people under 50.
Yeah.
Right.
I think 10 years ago, when Palestine was, like, polling at, like, 10% positive sentiment in the United States, they would never have even dared to make an anti-Israel Superman movie.
Yeah.
I think they've realized that they can make money appealing to like the pro-Palestine people, which is something that was not the case a decade ago.
Like, I don't know. I think you definitely see the textual reference to Israel-Palestine, and we're 100% supposed to be on Palestine's side. But I'm still, like, just baffled at this being a thing. Like, I want to know the meetings they went through, because they've changed. Like, they fire people for, like, pro-Palestine shit as, like, recently as, like, 3 years ago. When was October 7th? What year
2023?
2023.
Yeah,
Yeah, so, like, 3 years ago.
2. We were just shy of 2.
2 years ago.
Oh, okay, yeah. No, I mean...
Before October 7th.
Is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
So, yeah, 3 years ago, they would have fired people for this. And
I mean, it's literally a law in a ton of U.S. states that you have to be pro-Israel.
Yeah.
If you want any public contract for, like, most state governments, you have to, like, swear to never participate in BDS.
So, things have really changed, and it's kind of crazy to point, but it is the fact that October 7th was a turning point. And I think if you asked me then, I would have never guessed that it would turn to this position, to this point that we're in right now, where a major superhero movie, like, has this as, like, a major theme of it. It's mind blowing. I mean, shout out to James Gunn. He got his shit off.
He's also apparently cut Gal Gadot out of the DC movies.
That's hilarious, yo.
Please, God, make it so.
James Gunn.
I gotta say as well,
Kal-El, no.
What's so funny is Gal Gadot she's not a very good actress.
Yeah,
but
that's underselling it.
But also, in the DC universe, in the Snyder movies, they had to force all the other Amazon actresses to affect an Israeli accent because they could not get Gal Gadot to do
something else.
To do anything else.
Holy shit!
I know there's always a lot of people who are very skeptical, and they're like, a capitalist realism thing on movies that show, like, radical stuff, like movies that are Palestine. They're like, oh, it's just for the money because, like, you can do that and it stops anyone from doing anything because they get their catharsis through watching the movie. I think, though, like, at the end of the day, we have a movie that says Superman is pro-Palestine. And people are growing up, and, like, young people are watching this, and they see Superman is pro-Palestine. And I think that's huge.
Yeah.
Like, that's huge. My favorite thing about this movie, an old video that I bring up from, like, old YouTube pretty frequently, uploaded 9 years ago, and it's called Bowl Cut Maintenance 1000. And it's just like this surfer dude that is probably a little bit outside of his prime surfer years, cutting his own bowl cut with a pair of scissors, and they took that and made him Green Lantern.
That's just, what Guy Gardner in the comics has just a terrible cut. That's just how he looks.
Don't they also, like, make fun of him in the movie?
They do.
Yeah.
Now, I also looked this guy up after bringing up his video probably fairly frequently for several years now. Every now and then I see someone and I pull up the bowl cut video and I'm like, this is what he looks like. And I look it up 2 weeks ago, third most recent upload. Epstein, not a cover-up, it's all part of the plan. Why do I attract freaks like this?
Well, every time you show me, like, your reels sometimes, and you just have straight up schizophrenics with 100 views. It's like half your feed.
Yeah. I was sending
Spencer's the most chud guy we know who's not a chud.
I was sending Bennett something. I think after Nana mentioned to me at some point, he was like, Spencer, you would never understand whatever. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I was sending Bennett a bunch of reels, and it was like gang stalking content of people hiding behind like someone else's shrubbery, taking a video of a helicopter going by.
Yeah.
And I was like, Nana wouldn't understand this.
Yeah.
There was one video you sent me where it was a guy who was just filming someone else through their window.
Yeah.
And that's it. That's the whole video. Jesus.
That's all there
It's just
is
him
to
zooming in with his phone camera at some like college age boy or something.
Well, I got one recently, and he had a gun. He had a gun. He had a pistol, and everyone was just saying he needs a bigger gun.
Yeah.
One of the major problems I had with the movie was the I don't know, like I don't know what they were going for, what the main theme was, but this whole like plot line of his parents sending him in. He initially is like big fans of them. Yeah, and then it turns out he's there to conquer the earth.
I think honestly that's just going to be revealed to be fabricated in a future movie. I don't think that's going to be a permanent fixture.
It makes no sense. Like I
don't know. I think it's kind of cool. It's kind of a nice subversion of expectations and kind of like create like in the story at least, even if it is like fake later on in like the gun verse.
Yeah,
it did create like nice tension.
It creates an arc for Superman.
Yeah,
so because he's already such a perfect person that it's hard to have him like develop. You know, without giving him some sort of like
because they are
reason to shake his faith.
Because they already start in medias res for Superman's story. Like he's already been Superman for 3 years.
Yeah.
Yeah, but how did it shape his arc to the end? Like, what was different about Superman in the beginning than it was in the end?
Well, in the end, he realizes that like what makes him a hero is like the humans around him, right? Like he was raised by humans. He was raised on Earth. He isn't really Kryptonian, right? But, which is like at the end.
He realizes that he has been shaped by his material conditions.
Yes.
And not by birth.
At the start of the movie, when he wants to be soothed, he watches that like video of his Krypton parents who he never met.
Yeah.
At the end of the movie, he's in the nostalgia goon cave. Right?
Yeah.
He's in his nostalgia goon cave.
Yeah, it is. So is. He even has this fucking face when he's in there too.
Yeah, so he's in the nostalgia goon cave and it's showing him the videos of his human parents who actually raised him. And I think that's the arc he goes through, is he realizes that he doesn't need to be here on a grand mission to be a good person. What makes him a good person is the people who like raised him and like the fact that he is living on Earth and not Krypton.
I get that, and that makes sense. How is it reflected in the climax of the movie, though? The climax of the movie is Downpour is in danger, New York City is in danger, whatever they call it.
Metropolis.
And
it's reflected because when he confronts Luthor, he's like, that's where you're wrong. I'm more human than anyone. He goes on that whole rant.
Yeah, I'm more human than you because I love people. I want to protect
No, he
people,
says, I'm as human as you.
Yeah.
So this
because
is the part,
Luthor's like, he's illegal.
He's a hecking alien.
This is the part where I literally I did a little thing in the cinema because let's follow this. Superman is an illegal alien not from the U.S. who comes here and he's like a good guy. He's saving all these people, and then we find out that actually this illegal alien was sent to destroy Earth.
Yeah.
Or to destroy. Yeah. Okay, see where I'm going. If it wasn't. And at the end, we're like, actually, no. Like the assimilation he got from his parents is what defines him as a human being.
He has a national spirit.
Feels so weird to me.
Well, I think it would be different if he came to Earth as an adult. And he's like, I've made a conscious choice to become human, and that made me a good person. The thing is that he was never really raised in the culture of Krypton. He was always raised in the culture of Earth.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like, his original culture is something that was done to take... Well, like, his original culture embodied, like, taking over the land, right?
But that's not really his original culture. I mean, that's, like, his genetic background, I suppose.
Yeah.
But, like, his original culture really is, like, a white American.
And I agree with that. I'm saying, like, when they put in the text, when they put in the text that his parents want him to, or his ancestors or his genetic the genetic part of him wants him to take over the Earth. That sounds bad when you're trying to depict him as an illegal alien.
That is true.
Like,
I get what you're
I don't think they really ever say that. His parents are just like, you need to have as many wives as possible.
Well, he also says like you need to rule it with an iron fist. And
there's nothing. There's never any textual thing that says he will be compelled by some sort of uncontrollable biological urge. It's like this is what he should do.
Yeah, I guess a point of that. One of the points of that is that like actually that uncontrollable biological urge that would make him control the Earth.
Yeah,
it's not real.
Yeah,
right. It doesn't exist.
I guess if
so, what were you oh my godding about?
The fact that we have this illegal alien here and the job is to multiply among. This is white genocide shit. This guy is
right, but I guess one of the points of the movie is that none of that is true. Right? Superman doesn't do any of that.
Oh man.
Yeah.
Okay. Oh yeah. I guess I was gonna say I fully get that point. I think I'm okay with it as is. I would not be okay with it if they were like, oh, he's an American. He was like, oh, I'm human, and it's a little more universal. True. Though I still see that, like, that scale can also be seen as world to America. Mm-hmm. I'll take that. I did like, believe it or not, it's a prequel to 28 Days Later with the monkey rage farm.
Oh yeah, there's a lot of silly shit in the movie.
I love the silly shit.
The silly shit is nice because it kind of is just like it's just kind of like comic books are kind of silly and stupid.
Yeah, it's like superheroes are for babies. The movie should have silly stuff in it.
Yeah.
It should also not take itself seriously, and this movie does not take itself seriously.
And also, like the monkeys on the keyboard thing, like was silly, but also kind of like
so fucking true.
Like your average kid isn't gonna like. No, like the whole if you get enough monkeys on a typewriter and give them an unlimited amount of time, they'll eventually produce Shakespeare.
I mean, there's the cliche that good kids media has a little bit sprinkled in for the parents who are forced to sit through it.
It was just funny. It
was a good film. I enjoyed it very much.
I was like, it was a kids movie in the sense that like, I mean, it is definitely for kids, but. I mean, there's not much, but the amount of blood I saw in that movie for a kid's movie.
They just killed Netanyahu in that.
They also blow this like fucking halal food cart guy's brains out in front of Superman.
That was crazy.
That was crazy.
That was a good scene. That was a good scene.
That was good.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lex. What's his name? Nicholas Hoult killed it. As
I think the shooting the halal cart guy was great because. If Zack Snyder had that scene, it'd be like, oh, brother, this shit again, right? But because
if Zack Snyder directed it, they would have had the guy and then killed.
Yeah, it would have been. There was so much other not like gritty violence in the movie that it would have had no emotional weight. Yeah, because 99% of the movie was silly nonsense. The one scene where they murder that guy has a lot more.
Also, the whole dropping Netanyahu off was also great. And also, like, incredible scene cut to dropping an Alka-Seltzer in a glass of water. That was actually, like,
good filmmaking.
Yeah. And it was, like, it's such it was so innocuous, but it was, like, so visceral and, like, almost disturbing when it happens. It was great.
One issue I had with the movie, and it didn't really bother me that much when I was watching it, but someone I watched it with pointed it out to me afterwards, and it now annoys me, is the cinematography in the movie sometimes is not very good.
Yeah.
The fisheye lens stuff can get a little bit much. And then the scene where Mr. Terrific is having the fight with Planet Watch, but it's from Lois Lane's perspective. But actually the perspective is that you're 3 inches from her face like this. And also she's spinning in a circle really fast.
Yeah.
And you're not seeing anything except Lois Lane spinning really fast in a circle like this close to her face.
Yeah.
There was one moment which was the garage door opening where I was like, it's a little marvelly.
Yeah.
But that's it. I did like the goofy shit that wasn't a little marvelly.
I think when you mean marvelly, what you really mean is Joss Whedon-esque.
Probably.
Yeah, like the Whedon
Yes, but
style.
like Joss Whedon made the first Avengers movie, so he kind of set the tone.
Yeah, I mean, really the origin of the Marvel-esque like tone is the Buffyverse.
Yeah.
Where it's a little bit more palatable because it's like, this is the first one. No one else has ever done this.
like
everything after
the Buffy, like it's charming in Buffy and then tedious after the first Avengers movie.
Did Joss Whedon write Buffy?
Yes, but that was his like passion project.
Yeah,
with Buffy.
and he also wrote Angel, where he like psychologically
tortured Charisma Carpenter. Yeah,
because like that whole sense of humor thing. I don't watch that many movies, so it's like I saw it the first time and I was like, this is pretty funny. I saw it the second time like a year later and I'm like, it's still pretty funny. Saw it like a couple years later, a couple more times. So I'm like, oh, okay. And then it's been like a decade. And I see another one, and I'm like,
just
they're still doing this shit. Like, but I liked when they got a little silly. It's like, what's his kryptonite stuff called? And Lex goes, it's called kryptonite. And same with his girlfriend being like, you keep interviewing yourself. Like, people are gonna start realizing you look similar. And he goes, but the glasses.
Yeah.
And like, it's taking that whole trope that we know and acknowledging it, but not really, like, not spending a ton of time being like, oh, it's so obvious. It's a short thing and they move on.
Well, but isn't there like a textual thing, at least with the glasses, where they're like, he has hypno glasses?
That was a crazy canon change. That is not true.
But that's so funny. Yeah. Like, that's like something that was just genuinely dumb as shit. And I found it was really funny and kind of charming.
One thing I did like about this movie that Marvel movies and quite frankly Christopher Nolan movies also do that annoy me is Marvel movies will have a shot where they reference the canon, but it'll be so heavy-handed as if like you and the audience are supposed to be like, okay, I'm supposed to know who that is.
Right. Yeah.
Like that shot of Albert Einstein.
Yeah, like an Oppenheimer where Oppenheimer, there's literally a scene where Oppenheimer meets Niels Bohr. And someone's like, Oppenheimer, I'd like you to introduce you to Niels Bohr. And the shot is Niels Bohr, he's standing, he's sort of like facing a chalkboard, and then he slowly turns around with the chalk.
Okay, I'm thinking about the one where we like encounter Einstein at the end, and where you see it in the trailer, and it looks like a Marvel reveal for a character.
Yes. Yeah. Like Marvel has that thing where they reference their own canon, and Christopher Nolan does this too. Yeah. In such a heavy-handed way that's supposed to tell you, the viewer, I'm doing a reference right now.
Yeah.
The Superman movie was stuffed with canon references from start to finish, but never once told you that the reference was a reference unless you already knew it was one.
Right.
So, like, there was tons of references to, like, Silver Age Superman comics, but unless you know who Starro is already, they're not, like, you...
right overhead.
Yeah.
Yeah. I didn't get any other references.
I also know who Starro is because I've watched Young Justice.
This is a quick off to the side. Remember House of Gucci? I remember...
I never watched that.
They did this one scene where they just have, like, some shitty conversation. I didn't finish the movie. And then they cut, and it's just, like, Adam Driver, like, jumping on a couch. And it does, like, camera flash, freeze frame, and shows it as, like, a photograph. Yeah. And I was trying to find what it references. Nothing. They made, like, the whole freeze frame captured reference, and it referenced nothing that I could find. And that was mind-boggling.
Yeah, I think Superman strikes the perfect balance between the two types of people watching the movie, which are turbo geeks who love Superman, and normal people who don't want to be beat over the head with Superman references.
Yeah.
I think it struck a good balance between those two consumer groups.
For sure.
I got, like, just a few last things here. One, it was the deal where it's like they get half the land in this deal. And I just had a flashback to Trump Gaza number one.
Yeah, there basically was a Trump Gaza scene.
Yeah. Okay, but the funny thing is that, like, this movie would have been written and mostly shot before that even came out. So I think just by like sheer accident.
Well,
because the whole Trump...
Stephen Miller said something about turning Gaza into real estate 4 years ago when Trump was first president.
Okay, but can we, like, really count on, like, James Gunn of knowing, like, a single Stephen Miller comment?
Yeah, I think, honestly, they just predicted it by accident. I'm with Liam on that one. But
that's popular enough.
Well, this is why I also think it was, like, also, like, again, like, yes, surface level Russian, but there's also trying to thread the needle of Russian-Israel analogy because, like, Boravia is, like, taking land. Whereas, like, at least for most people's minds in the public perception, even though Israel's also stealing land in the West Bank as we speak.
And trying to annex Gaza, basically.
Yeah. The idea is, like, at this point, it's just turning Gaza into rubble.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which is sort of what they kind of do in the movie, too. I mean, Putin does not want to exterminate Ukrainians en masse.
Yeah.
But in the movie, there's literally a scene where they're invading Jaranpur while Superman is in the pocket dimension prison. And Netanyahu goes, we're going to kill every Jaranpurian in Jaranpur.
Yeah. Like, Jesus.
Wait, I actually don't even remember that line.
There's literally a scene where Netanyahu's like, we're going to kill all of them, every single one, in his like speech to motivate the troops.
I got just a couple more things. This is just quotes that I saw from other people.
Yeah.
One is, the point ends up being that Superman wasn't able to be the change that the nation needed, but his good nature and willingness to do what was right inspired a group of people that an hour or so before had mentioned they would never do anything, and they went and like helped things out. And I figured that, like, on one hand, sure, I'm not sure how much I'm willing to dig into that, but like we were saying, for under 50s, it's like half of people are now like pro-Palestine and like comfortable saying that. When it, like, because we were on this shit immediately after October 7th. We were just saying, like, no, you guys, like, I followed this for a couple of years before October 7th, not in like a major way, like it has been for my life since. But we pretty much instantly stood on business by saying, like, Palestine is not the problem here. That's not the problem. Like, Israel has been screwing these people over forever. And now, like, I feel like at that point, it was a very small voice. There was a pretty solid instant reaction, but it was still a very kind of off to the side voice, not to be acknowledged by mainstream media. People would lose their jobs for expressing solidarity. Yep. Teachers lost their jobs, and I think even like pensions for expressing solidarity. But now it's half of people. And it's like that smaller fight of just trying to, you know, just posting, dare I say it, has managed to actually become a little bit more of something that could be more substantial.
I think more specifically is the posting of what's happening on the ground in Gaza, which is maybe the first time we've ever like had such direct witness to like just war crimes in this like magnitude, and like that's really shifted people's perspective.
Yeah, like we were able to force people to see it, because usually, and I think I mentioned this earlier, like the left does not get control over their own propaganda. Like, like when a lot of people like, oh, this movie isn't actually for the left, it's just what, you know, capitalists think they can get profit out of. We don't get control over most of our own propaganda. I feel like with Israel-Palestine has been the first time where the left has been able to really be like a pretty united front and force an issue to be acknowledged. Yeah. And even if like there's not a huge response, we've been able to force that.
Yeah.
And the last one I had was Baravia is obviously Israel, and Baravia is cartoonishly evil in the film, so no one that supports Israel can admit that Baravia is obviously Israel, because otherwise they'd be admitting that what they're doing is cartoonishly evil, which means a bunch of staunchly Israel people look like fucking idiots that they can't get the most basic plot point of the movie right.
Yeah, see, all the funniest thing, I think the thing that really made me buy my ticket and go sit down, I saw so many tweets saying, yo, this is so pro-Palestine, dubbed them. I'm like, people on Twitter say a lot of dumb shit all the time, so I wasn't about to follow that. It's when the Israelis were saying, yo, this is so anti-Israel, fuck this. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah, I remember, there was like someone crying about how anti-Semitic the new Superman was.
Yeah.
And so it's just like posting that gif from Euphoria. It's like, wait, is this fucking play about us?
Yeah. Oh, man.
I remember seeing Ben Shapiro posting, and he's like, the new Superman is woke, and that was the first moment where I was like, this movie probably rocks. Alright, shall we move
Let's move on. We've talked about Superman for like an hour.
Good. That's kind of what I wanted, really.
Yeah.
So, okay. Between Carney advocating for a Zionist Palestine and advocating for a two-state solution while saying that he wouldn't recognize Palestine even if other Western nations did, France revealing that Carney was an obstacle in his recognition of Palestine and all of that. I've grown like a real vitriolic rage for Carney. And I just wanted to cover some points about this because we've been covering it for a long time, but I feel like I've been getting a little lost in the sauce with it. Where I've been looking at the details, looking at the new updates that come out. Every day it's like tons more people are dead, and I just feel like I wanted to take a step back. Which is like, liberals want a two-state solution because the big brain centrist take where they can just delay and do nothing it like forever, which is what they've done. Carney came out a little bit ago that we covered saying that there was like he was doing a little finger wag and he's like, oh, stop putting up more settlements in the West Bank or we're going to do something about it. And they didn't stop and they continued to do more. And then Carney put sanctions on like 2 people that were probably never going to come to Canada anyways. Not that they'd arrest them if they did come to Canada because we know that.
Well, 2 people who are very important government ministers, the finance minister of Israel and the like internal security minister of Israel, who are both part of like religious Zionist parties who are both settlers.
Yeah. So it's like, it's a good sanction, but it can very easily never do anything actually. And then now he is finger wagging again and saying, oh, Israel should slow down. And everyone that I saw was like, this is a great first step. But he already took a second step. So going back to a good first step is literally just a step backwards.
Yeah.
Like, we're back to finger wagging. So this week, there was a bunch of doctors and like I think reports coming out about the starvations that are happening now.
Yeah, about 18 deaths due to starvation have been recorded in the past 2 days.
That was on Sunday alone, I think.
That might have been just Sunday specifically, so 3 days now from time of recording.
Yeah. So yeah, I've now just like going through my regular feed, seen like just like a pile of like dead children with their rib cages like distended, poking out because they have no body fat on them. I have seen people in a crowd waiting, trying to get food at aid stations just being mowed down by machine gun fire. And it was like a week or 2 ago, I've seen like red puddles of blood from a cafe that people and journalists would frequent that Israel decided to drop an anti-tank bomb on, despite the fact that, like, not only are their evacuation notices bullshit, but this one didn't have an evacuation notice. It's just a nice waterfront
Seaside.
cafe, seaside cafe, where you could go and potentially enjoy yourself. And yeah, a place for reporters to sit, which is why they have to get rid of it. More journalists have died than I think World War I and II combined, and it's not even close, is my understanding of the numbers, though I have to double check that one. It's like you can add like stack conflicts on conflicts.
Yeah.
And more journalists have died like since October 7th than any of them. And Carney is doing literally nothing. Like, I genuinely have no clue. I didn't expect him to do much because I thought he would be geopolitically inept. But it is astounding that like people voted for Carney because they didn't want austerity. The CBC is getting cuts. Government's getting massive cuts. People wanted like just more stability that it seems like we're not getting. And also like just something good.
Yeah.
And instead he's just ignoring everything. Like in terms of international politics, there's the one issue that like every single young person cares about, and young people can't even get a win on like him just being like, oh yeah, Palestinians should live. Palestinian children shouldn't starve to death.
Just a stern hand. Yeah.
I wonder how much of this is like genuine Zionist animus on Carney's part, or some more of his like cynical triangulation on trying to secure a trade deal with Trump. Because it seems like a lot of his actions of going like putting his elbows back down have been to try and secure some sort of trade deal. Like, what was the name of the bill? The one that's like basically like Diet Patriot Act for Canada.
Strong
That was the
Borders
border
Act?
bill. I forget the exact number, but
C2.
C2.
Yeah. I definitely think it's either the latter. I don't think Carney has a Zionist interest in.
I don't think he gives a fuck at all.
Yeah.
But he is following
Not-
Canadian precedent
Yeah.
of like, because we do know that since Harper, there's been like this like unstated policy of Canada to support Israel.
But the thing is that I think you're right in the sense that he's just following the trend. I think if the Canadian status quo was that we were assembling a nuke to launch at Tel Aviv in 10 years, he would also continue that program. I don't think he actually cares.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it's either. What was the second point? Yeah, I think. Actually, that was a really good point. I think, if anything, the lack of movement in this is just like it indicated to him just being a pussy for Trump and to get some kind of Trump deal. But I also think that Canada has like a vested like financial interest in Israel taking over Palestine, and regardless of
Carney,
whether or
Gaza?
not like say again.
Carney, Gaza, #1.
Yeah. Regardless of whether or not like there's any like Zionist lobbying or anything like that, they would 100% keep doing what they're doing. And that's why like what would PP have done that would have been worse than this?
Oh, that's a good question.
I wanted to jump back into this half a second. That's what I meant to say earlier.
Yeah.
Was that one of the deviations that people didn't want from Polyev was Polyev constantly just saying Israel can take my body, no safe word, right? And everyone's like, we don't want that. We vote for Carney, and Carney proceeds to do nothing to change it.
Here's the thing, though. I think a lot of people knew they would be the same on Israel-Palestine, but people were like, well, at least with Carney, we won't destroy the government. Well, headline, Carney's fall budget could be the toughest one Canadians have ever faced in peacetime.
Okay,
We're getting literally the exact same administration.
Yeah.
So to like belabor the point, I do like it remains to be seen. But so far, Carney has seemed to be like less zealous about trying to criminalize pro-Palestinian speech than Poilievre had.
Okay,
That's true.
That's fair. Yeah,
I'll take that as a legitimate point.
Wait, when was the prescribing of Samidun as a terror organization? Was that under Trudeau? Or?
That was under Trudeau.
Okay.
Yeah.
So yeah, a fucking prisoner solidarity organization fucking prescribed as a terrorist organization, although under Trudeau.
Not just...
But still maintained by Carney.
A part of the Strong Borders Act, like, could definitely, like...
be used
to take down other Palestinian
because there's a lot of like
organizations.
warrantless search of online information and of transactions.
Yeah.
And mail and all of that. And actually thinking of, as we move towards this, I've seen a lot of talk about hate speech and online hate speech stuff and mediating it. And I don't think it's blown up into a full real thing yet. But I did mean to bring up recently the UK making it deeming Palestine Action as a terrorist organization and arresting anyone who mentions or shows any potential support for Palestine Action.
Yeah.
Which means that not only can you not do anything, because the organization is called Palestine Action, if you say to the government, please do something about Palestine, that counts as do action for Palestine, Palestine Action. You can be arrested for this.
Okay, wait. I just want to is this something that has happened, or is this something that you're saying?
They've arrested hundreds of people so far. We're still in the wave of people broadly coming out in support.
Yes, but they've arrested people at protests that are specifically protesting I support Palestine Action.
Yeah.
That there is a difference there.
I
wouldn't put it past
Yeah.
I wouldn't put it past Sir Kid Starver.
Yeah.
But unless I'm wrong, it remains to be seen.
Yeah.
That specific example you've given has been the case.
I'd have to double check it because I know that it's so far just been like hundreds on hundreds of people are just getting arrested for it.
But yeah, this is again because there's been specific demonstrations where people are holding signs saying I support Palestine Action.
Yeah.
Or at demonstrations that support Palestine actions delistment as a terror org.
But yeah, I thought that one immediately was insanely devious just because of how much you want to say, like, I demand action on Palestine being the same as I demand, like, that's why Palestine action is, like, named what it is. Yeah. But yeah, I see that as way too close. And in my mind, that's a very strategic tool. And then I've seen, bubbling around on Reddit, a bunch of things popping up saying, oh, should we do more about, like, hate speech? And it just immediately rang towards that. Maybe I'm tunneled in a bit too much, but I know that if we do hate speech stuff in Canada now, it's immediately probably going to be used for Palestine stuff, as it has been in every other Western country recently.
100%. I can't imagine anything like even that. We already figured that out with the trans stuff. Like, if there's anything we're going to codify into, like, an anti-hate speech, it would be, like, trying to, protect trans people. But if they are going to speak on hate speech, it's 100% going to be, like, anti-Semitism is on the rise. You got to crack down on it. Even the encampments, the one at University of Alberta, the cops, like, when they heard that other schools had encampments, already were collaborating with the fucking administration on how to shut it down. Yeah. Like, before a single tent had been pitched at all. So this is definitely, like, if, you know what? I won't be surprised. 6 months from now, someone's definitely going to try to do something like that.
And we've also seen in, like, Canada and, like, at so many other countries, like, we've seen it in the Netherlands, we've seen it in, like, France, the UK, is that with all of these things, like, Israelis could go in and just beat the shit out of, like, people in the Palestinian, like, pro-Palestine encampments.
Yeah.
And then the people in the encampments were just getting arrested for it. Like, we watched that happen. And then we watched the cops, like, tear gas and rubber bullet the people in the encampment, stuff like that, round them up, arrest them.
Yeah.
Like, we know exactly how that's going.
I want to do the Quebec businesses sue Ottawa.
Do we want to pause here and then just start another one that'll be like 45 or something? I don't know.
No. We've been criticized for doing that in the past.
Well, that's because it was just halfway through a conversation. I would just fade it out and fade it back in.
You're actually psychotic.
It was like between topics, but we kind of organically do the transition.
What is this, a song?
Yeah. That was because we were getting episodes that were like an hour 55 minutes long, and I wasn't able to get through them in time.
You know what? You should continue to do that for long episodes, but you should do like the guitar riff whenever the Nostalgia Critic went to an ad roll. And then put an ad in there if you can.
Do we want to hurry
most
along?
Most importantly is the Nelk Boys.
Yeah.
Okay.
Wait, say again? I didn't hear
all I'll say is I didn't watch the Nelk Boys interview. I opened it up to try to watch it, and I just saw, like, two frat guy, as far as I'm concerned, nobodies who I've never heard of before, and they just get Netanyahu on their podcast. That rings the alarm bells. And then they're just chatting about, like, fast food. And Netanyahu's like, I'll take Burger King over McDonald's. And they go, that's your worst take, man. And that's what we're up against, guys. That's what we're up against.
The Nelk Boys, I've heard of them. I know they interviewed Trump, but Trump went on a bunch of, like, stupid podcasts in 2024. He was on Aiden Ross's stream, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah, I did not watch the Nelk Boys. I don't think I've ever watched a Nelk Boys second of content.
Yeah.
It's not worth it.
Get him out of here,
This is what we're losing to. We do all of this shit. This is what we're losing to.
These are the people we need to deport.
I think they've already self-deported to Miami.
Yeah, you're right.
I thought they lived in, like, London, Ontario.
No, they were from they're from Mississauga, and they did their show there for some time. But I think they've, like, gone to Miami.
Let's wind up here, and we'll just get back to those stories next time.
Sure.
Sounds good. All right, thanks for listening, everyone. Carney Gaza #1.
Carney Gaza #1.